Hello, all two of you. I saw Serenity this past weekend, and I would love to talk about it. Serenity is a thriller starring Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. And basically, from the trailer, you get the understanding that Anne Hathaway's character comes to Matthew McConaughey's character with the proposition of killing her husband for a sum of money. And that's the basic plot you know going into it. But if that's all you know going into it, you are going to be in for a surprise, like I was. Now, the trailer piqued my interest, not just because it was a well made trailer, but because the premise is something I like. I'm attracted to those kind of thrillers where an average Joe is thrust into a situation way over his head when he's given a proposition, much like Anne Hathaway's character gives to him. Do you kill this man? If can you do a bad thing for good reasons? Are there repercussions? What are the consequences, both in your world or even spiritually? They kind of attempt to touch on that for a second. These are all questions I found fascinating going into the movie, and that's about all I knew. Which, if you've seen some of my other reviews, you know that I'm not shy about watching all the trailers, reading all the reviews before I go see a movie. I like to know kind of what I'm getting in for. Didn't do that with this movie. I saw the trailer one whole time months ago, and then I went and saw the movie. And I had heard that there was some bad buzz around it, but that's it. That's all I had going into it. So for once, I was going in pretty much blank slate. It's kind of exciting. I didn't know what to expect. And for the first half of the movie, maybe even the first two-thirds, it's basically following what I expected. That the way those kind of thrillers play out. First he says no, then he has to think about it. Then, what is he? Now he's having a quandary. Does he do it? Does he not do it? And he kind of grapples with the question, like, is it okay to do it? I like that stuff. There was even a moment in the movie where he was about to take this guy he's supposed to kill out on the boat, and I was like, oh, they're going to spend the whole rest of this movie, the bulk of the movie, just Matthew McConaughey's character and this character talking on the boat. And maybe he's bouncing back and forth on whether he should do it. As he's talking to the guy, he changes. Maybe he flips back and forth a few times. Maybe he finds out the guy's not that bad. Maybe he finds out Anne Hathaway's character is actually more conniving than he thought. Maybe she's the one he's got to watch out for. That doesn't happen. None of that happens. It plays out pretty much how you'd expect until the end of the second act, and then, oh my gosh, does it take a turn? And I won't get into spoilers because if you haven't seen this movie and have any interest in seeing it, or even if you haven't given thought to seeing it, I would actually recommend seeing it just for this weird twist. But I'll keep it ambiguous, so if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil anything. But let's just say it has a foot firmly rooted in the reality for a while, and then it takes a left turn into sci-fi territory out of nowhere at the end of the second act, and all of a sudden it becomes less interesting for the plotline it had been following, but infinitely more interesting just to see where the hell it was going to go from what happens in this twist. So it becomes basically a different movie for the last third of it, and it's just fascinating for probably all the wrong reasons. Because I was invested in the storyline up to that point. It had stumbled a little bit, but I thought, all right, I'm curious to see where this goes. But I was robbed of that satisfaction because it just completely out of left field throws this twist in your face. Yeah, so it kind of deflates the momentum it had built up for about 100 minutes, or sorry, not 100 minutes, probably like 80 minutes. And opts for this new sci-fi route. And by the time it commits to this bonkers new revelation, there's just not enough time to accept it. There's like 20, 30 minutes left in the movie at this point, and it doesn't give you time to process what's just happened as a viewer, and you're just kind of left scratching your head, just wide-eyed, jaw open, for the rest of the movie. And, maybe if that had happened earlier in the movie, or it was established at the beginning, what this twist ended up being, if that was not a twist, if that was the plot from the beginning, it might have been a pretty rewarding experience, honestly. but it's so jarring, the switch and the plot and the theme, and not necessarily the theme, but the genre hopping. It's not seamless. It's very jarring. Not very palatable. Ultimately, I wish the film would have stuck to one or the other. I was interested to see where the straightforward thriller was going to go. I liked all the questions of morality that they were exploring in the first two-thirds of the movie, and I would have been elated to see how that turned out. Probably pretty satisfied. Um, but I also would have been interested to see the movie that the last third becomes. I would have liked to see the whole movie of that because that was interesting in its own right. That was could have been a revolutionary type of story, but that's not what we got. We got this, and it's kind of fascinating. When I left the theater, I was thinking I kind of did not like this movie at all. The plot twist created so many plot holes that I was just furious that they tried it at all. I was like, why didn't they just commit to the original plot line? But it's been 3 days now since I've seen it, and it's been sitting on me. And I gotta say, as much as I still feel that way, I'm annoyed about it. But it's just fascinating the gall they had trying to pull off this plot twist in an otherwise grounded thriller. Just boggles my mind, and I've just been thinking about it, mulling over the plot ever since. So I'm gonna give it a soft 7 out of 10, where I was gonna give it a 6. It's given me something to talk about, to talk with my friends. It boggles the mind, and I really implore you to see it, even though the reviews probably tell you not to. I'd go see it. It's a fascinating watch, even if it's not the greatest movie you'll see this year. But yeah, those are my feelings on it. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys next time, and yeah, have a good one. Bye bye.